Today, I want to show you how you can import geospatial files like Shapefiles, GeoPackage, and GeoJSON files onto your Python environment. A lot of times people want to learn, let's say, geospatial data science or do a lot of geospatial analysis, but they have no clue where to start from or what to do in the first place. One of the first key pieces of knowledge you need is how to even bring your data set from QGIS or whatever data format you are using, like a shapefile or GeoPackage, into Python environment so you can do your automation or your data analysis. Why is it important? Because without it, you cannot feed your models or your code with any kind of data. See, for example, we have data set on, it's easy to import data set on Pandas, on QGIS. All you have to do is drag and drop. So we have shape files here. You can simply drag and drop your shape files. You can simply import your GeoPackage by dragging and dropping. And same for your GeoJSON files. You can simply import them like this. So it's easy to do that on QGIS. But once you start thinking about automating code or writing code for analysis, then you have to think about something like Python environment, how to bring your data into Python environment. So just a quick explanation or context. I have a GeoJSON file here. We will learn how to import that into Python. I have a GeoPackage file here, and also I have a shapefile here. All these constitute the whole data set that define the shapefile, but I have a shapefile data set here. Okay. One thing you need to do, if this is your first time using GeoPandas, is you need to install GeoPandas. How do you do that? You simply type, if you are using a command prompt like conda command prompt, you can simply type pip install or conda install GeoPandas, right? So something like this, pip install GeoPandas. Or if you are using a Jupyter notebook, like in my case, you can use pip install, use this exclamation mark for a start, pip install GeoPandas, okay? And you'll be fine. All right, so once you do that, you're good to go. The next thing you need is your data set. Like I already showed you, I have my data set already here. So you need to have some form of data set to do that. Okay, good. So now that you have that, we are going to take note of the file paths, okay? So we will have a shapefile path. How do you do that? You can simply go to, let's say, a shapefile. For the shapefile, you're not copying everything. You just need to copy the .shp file, okay? So if I press Shift on my keyboard and I right click, I'm going to have this option called copy as path, okay? So you can just copy the absolute path and paste it here. That's it. We can do that for the other ones like GeoJSON and just call it GeoJSON path. Same thing, go to your data set. If you're using a GeoJSON, press Shift and then hit right click and then copy as path, same as before. Okay, then you paste it. If you're using a GeoPackage, like some other people, in fact, these days a lot of people tend to use GeoPackages. So if you're using GeoPackage, same thing. You can just copy the path. Now you need the path so that your environment or Python will know where to locate. So press Shift and right click. So the Python will know where it is reading the data from as far as your local drive is concerned. So now you know where all your paths are. The next thing you need to do is import the library you need. Remember, we installed GeoPandas in the first few minutes. Okay, so import GeoPandas. Now with this, you are good to go. But I like to use the short form of it as GPD. And you would be seeing this in so many other videos I'll be recording later on, or even in other channels. It's just a short way of spelling GeoPandas without, spelling everything out. So always import GeoPandas as GPD. Makes your code less clustered. Okay. So let's start by importing or reading this .shp file. And now in Python, it's very easy to read any geospatial file. Okay, it's very easy. Most of the time, it's just a couple of lines or even just a single line. If you've used Pandas, you would see that it's similar. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's read the shp file, the shape file. We're going to say shp data equals to gpd. That is what we imported here, the GeoPandas dot read file. Okay, and then I pass in my shp path. You understand? So it's just like copying all this and placing it here, but that's going to look so long. So what we decided to do was basically assign that to a name, and then we put that name here. And this allows us to be able to read a path. Okay, so let's see. Now that we've read, you can simply hit enter. Did we miss something? Yes. Usually when you're copying absolute paths, it's good to put an arrow here to indicate Python that it's a path. Okay, so now it tells us that it has been able to read. You see it run without any kinds of errors. How do you know? We can try it out. Let's see. I'm going to just hit .shp here, and it tells me, yeah, this is a layer that has regions and polygons, etc., etc. But that's not it. So let's keep this as shp.head. If you know how to use pandas, this is way similar. It's very similar as in pandas. In fact, GeoPandas is just a little bit of extension of pandas. Okay, we can also try some other things like maybe before that we can try to do something like print the CRS, right? So print the shapefile data.crs. This tells us the coordinate system we are working with. Tells us that we are working in a projected coordinate system. If you do not know what that means, let me do this for you. Context sake, you can see that this is called WGS84 UTM, Universal Transverse Mercator, Zone 13 off. And it gives you more information about it and its datum or the ellipsoid it is based on. So you can see, and even the countries that it supports. Now, basically what you need to know is, and we'll be talking about CRS or coordinate reference systems in our subsequent videos. In fact, in the next video, I'll show you how to swap or change between two CRS. So for example, this one tells you it's in a projected coordinate system. Perhaps you want to see your map in a latitude longitude system. That is a geographic coordinate system. So you would have to do what we call coordinate reference system projection, reprojection. The last thing you can do to confirm that your data is created is just do something like this: the shapefile.plot. Okay, this basically gives you a geospatial representation of your data. And you can see that this is a map of Ghana, the various regions of Ghana. And also I was saying, you can see that the coordinate system here is about a million values, right? 1.2 times 10 raised to the power 6. And it's clustered here. That tells you that this is a projected coordinate system. Perhaps you want to work in a geographic coordinate system. I'll be doing that in another video. So remember to subscribe to stay tuned to my videos if you want to see more of my videos. So like I said, this is very simple. And it is absolutely the same for all these other paths or data sets. Like if you are working with GeoJSON, all you have to do is copy the GeoJSON path and put it here. Maybe let's do a different line for that. So we have the GeoJSON path that tells us where the file is located. Okay. So if I want to use read the GeoJSON file, all I have to do is GeoJSON dataset equals to GPD. Remember that stands for GeoPandas.read file. And then I pass in the path where the file is located. And in the same way, we can simply do print GeoJSON dataset dot head. Let's print the first four rows, and we can do same for print dot crs, and finally we just plot as we did for the previous one. See? That wasn't hard. It gives us the head, the first few rows or the first few polygons of the place, and it tells us the coordinate reference system, same as the previous one, that's projected, and then a quick plot of it. Finally, you can do very similar for the GeoPackage. And like I said, these are following the same steps. Okay, all you have to do is, you don't have to import because you did that earlier. So GeoPackage data equals to GeoPandas.read file, and you pass in your GeoPackage file, correct? Is that what we spelled for the previous? What did we call it? GeoPackage path, not file, GeoPackage path. Okay, like this. And similarly, we can just print a couple of things. Print. So we'll print the head. Okay, print this one dot head, also the first four, and print the CRS as usual. Now, why do we always print the CRS? Because you need to know what coordinate reference system you're working in. It helps you to determine what kind of analysis you can do and what kind of analysis you cannot do, right? Oh, and the last one, you don't need to print, you just plot it. So the plot, this. That's it. So that's about it. Remember, this is just your first step to importing data. It's easy to do it on QGIS, but it involves a lot of drag and drop, and and if you're working with GUIs, that's cool. But once you want to start working with Python, you want to write code, do various kinds of geospatial analysis on Python, and do various automations, then this is your first step. Learning how to bring your data from wherever it is into Python using the GeoPandas library. Okay, so stay tuned. Like I said, follow my videos if you are enjoying them, and leave a comment what you think about the video, if it was useful, what exactly you were working on when you realized you needed to import geospatial data into your Python environment, and any other comments you think will be helpful. Kindly leave your comments behind, and I'll see you next time in my subsequent videos, which will be coming very soon. So stay in touch.